Don't move. I can see it written all over you, that quiet question burning behind your eyes. You're wondering if this is just another voice trying to sound powerful. It's not. This isn't motivation. This is confrontation. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to remind you what they forgot about you. You've been watching them rise, haven't you? All polished smiles and perfect words. They made you believe you were a background character in their story. But here's the twist. The spotlight they chased is blinding them now. And you've been adjusting your eyes to the dark, learning to see where they can't. They were way above you, too proud to look down. But the higher they climbed, the more they cracked. You've felt it, haven't you? That moment when their power starts to sound fragile, when confidence turns into noise, when the ones who called you nothing start whispering your name like a secret they can't ignore. So don't rush. Let it sink in. They're breaking and you're built different. You don't need a crowd. You don't need their approval. You don't even need their stage. You are the quiet storm they never saw coming. And tonight, the silence is yours. You ever notice how the loudest ones always fade first? They burn bright, but they burn fast. That's what happens when your power depends on being seen, when your confidence needs an audience to survive. But you learned power differently. You built it where no one clapped. You forged it in rooms with no light, no noise, no comfort. That's where real strength breathes. Not under attention, but under pressure. They'll never understand what it takes to grow in silence, to wake up every day knowing no one's watching, no one's cheering, no one's believing. And still, you show up. That's not motivation, that's obsession stitched into your bones. That's the kind of hunger that doesn't ask for permission, it creates its own space. They call it loneliness. You call it evolution. In the dark, something changes inside you. You stop chasing validation and start crafting identity. You stop waiting to be seen and start seeing yourself. That's when the shift happens. When you realize the shadows weren't punishment, they were training. Every hour alone taught you how to breathe in chaos, how to hold still while the world kept spinning. That's not weakness, that's calibration. You were learning the rhythm of your own power. They used to tell you that silence meant failure, that success had to be loud, dramatic, celebrated. But now look around. The loud ones are exhausted. They built castles out of noise. You built fortresses out of patience. They got followers. You got focus. They mastered performance. You mastered control. And that's what scares them, that calm on your face when everything around you is shaking. People don't see it yet, but silence has gravity. It pulls attention without asking. It draws eyes without trying. The world starts to feel your presence before it hears your name. That's the mark of real power. Not the kind that needs to shout, but the kind that makes everyone else go quiet. You don't announce your arrival. You shift the atmosphere when you enter. So keep your silence. Protect it. It's not emptiness. It's energy storing itself for the right moment. While they're busy proving who they are, you're becoming who you were meant to be. Remember this. The dark isn't where you were forgotten. It's where you were formed. And soon they'll realize that every second you spent unseen was a warning of what's coming. Respect. They talk about it like it's handed out with smiles and titles. But you know better. You've watched the ones above you try to demand it, wear it, fake it. They thought respect was something you could perform. But real respect, it's not given. It's taken, pulled from the bones of struggle, ripped from the grip of doubt. You don't ask for it, you earn it when no one's willing to believe in you. They had connections. You had consequence. Every failure you faced rewired you into something sharper. Every insult became a silent agreement with yourself. That one day you'd stand so strong that no one could look down on you again. That's not pride. That's survival. That's the quiet oath made by those who were forced to climb with no rope, no map, no applause. See, they built their confidence on attention. You built yours on endurance. They needed approval to feel strong. You needed pain to prove it. That's why when pressure hits, they collapse. They don't have the scars to remind them who they are. But you remember every cut, every doubt, every night you had to convince yourself not to quit. Those memories became your armor. You didn't ask for respect. You became impossible to disrespect. People think dominance is about power. It's not. It's about control. The ability to stay grounded when everyone else loses their balance. That's what you learned. You stopped chasing validation because you realized once you control yourself, no one controls. That's when respect begins. When people stop seeing you as competition and start seeing you as consequence. And now look around. Those who once ignored you copy your tone. They borrow your words. They imitate your silence. They study you like a blueprint they can't decode, but they never will. Because what you built can't be taught. It's felt. It's lived. It's carved into you by every moment they thought you were done. So don't say a word. Don't remind them who you are. Let your presence do the work. Respect doesn't need introduction. It demands reaction. And when you walk past them now, watch how their voices drop. That's the sound of realization. The sound of knowing they can't touch what was forged in the fire they never survived. They wore crowns made of noise. Every move rehearsed. Every smile trained. Every word meant to echo louder than the truth beneath it. That's the curse of weak kings. They spend so long pretending to be powerful that they forget what power even feels like. They start to fear their own reflection. Because the mirror never lies. It doesn't show the version they want to be seen. It shows the one they've been running from. You can always tell when a person rules from fear. They talk too much. They need control because they don't have confidence. They surround themselves with people who bow instead of challenge. But that kind of throne, it's made of glass. It looks beautiful until pressure hits. Then it shatters sharp and silent. That's when you realize they were never strong. Just protected by illusion. But you built a different kind of kingdom. No crown, no crowd, just composure. You learn to be the mirror they can't face. Your stillness exposes them. Your calmness humiliates them. They hate that. They hate that you don't flinch when they expect you to kneel. That quiet rebellion, that's power. It's not loud, it's not violent, but it's undeniable. You don't need to roar when your presence makes their noise feel meaningless. Let them talk. Let them pose, perform. The higher they climb on fragile image, the harder the fall when reality calls their bluff. You're not in their race anymore. You're the silence, waiting at the finish line. They can't outrun what's real. They can't hide from authenticity forever. Eventually, every fake king meets his own reflection, and it breaks him. You ever notice how their laughter sounds forced now? How their energy feels heavy, stretched, exhausted? That's what happens when you live for attention instead of alignment. They can't rest because peace doesn't exist in performance. But you learned peace inside pain. You built comfort inside chaos. And that's something no crown can replace. So stay calm, stay grounded, keep your silence close. Because sooner or later they'll come to that mirror again. And this time they'll see you standing behind them. Not above, not below, just unshaken. That's the moment their reflection fades, and yours begins to reign. They thought you were harmless. They mistook patience for weakness, silence for surrender. But what they didn't understand is that being underestimated is the sharpest weapon you'll ever carry. It's camouflage in a world obsessed with noise. When people think you're nothing, you get to move freely. You get to grow quietly. You get to build something dangerous while they sleep on your potential. Being overlooked hurts. Let's not pretend it doesn't. It burns. It makes you question your worth, your purpose, your progress. But that sting, that's data. That's feedback from the universe telling you where your energy should go next. Every time they ignored you, they unknowingly sharpened you. Every time they laughed, they made you more precise. They taught you how to move without needing permission. That's not weakness, that's evolution disguised as rejection. Most people panic when they're underestimated. They start explaining, proving, defending. But the smart ones, the dangerous ones, go quiet. They don't explain, they execute. You learn to weaponize their doubt. You used it as insulation, as motivation, as science. You studied what others feared to face the silence between effort and result. You understood that real growth doesn't need validation, it needs isolation. When they called you a nobody, you were busy designing something that would outlive their applause. That's what being underestimated gave you. Invisibility, freedom from expectation. You could fail in private, rebuild in peace, and emerge without warning. While they chased visibility, you chased velocity. While they collected likes, you collected lessons. That's why you move different. You're not addicted to being seen. You're addicted to becoming unstoppable. Here's the truth: being underestimated is the greatest blessing disguised as insult. Because when they finally realize who you've become, it's already too late. You've outgrown their version of you. You've rewritten your reputation without ever saying a word. That's the science of it. Doubt gives birth to dominance. You just have to be patient enough to let it bloom. So let them think you're average. Let them misread your silence. Because the longer they sleep on you, the deeper your roots grow. And one day they'll wake up and realize the person they dismissed has become the standard they can't reach. That's when the tables turn. Not with noise, not with revenge, but with presence, quiet, steady, undeniable. It's strange, isn't it? Watching the ones who once stood above you start to stumble. The ones who mocked your struggle are now trapped in their own reflection. That's the thing about altitude, it makes people dizzy. They forget what ground feels like. They confuse position with permanence. But the air up there, it's thin, it's lonely, it's unforgiving. Not everyone learns how to breathe in it. You can see it in their eyes now, the exhaustion they try to hide, the forced laughter, the fake confidence. They used to carry power like armor, but now it's become the applause they lived for doesn't echo the same anymore. Every cheer fades quicker. Every win feels emptier. That's the breakdown, the quiet collapse behind their own curtain. Because the higher they climbed, the more they forgot how to stand without support. You survived what they couldn't. The stillness. You learned how to live without noise, without validation. They can't. They crumble in silence. Because silence demands truth. It strips away performance, status, identity. You faced that long ago. You made peace with the darkness inside you. They ran from it, and now it's catching up. People think downfall happens overnight. It doesn't. It's slow, it's subtle, it's every ignored warning, every inflated ego, every time they believed they were untouchable. The cracks start small. A missed step, a wrong tone, a restless night. Then it spreads. Power built on pride can't survive introspection. The moment they're forced to look inward, everything they built starts to collapse. You, on the other hand, built differently. You faced your flaw. You dissected your own chaos until it became clarity. You broke before, but you rebuilt. That's why you're dangerous. Because nothing about your power is borrowed. You earned every piece of it through discomfort. That's what they'll never understand. What broke them built you. So watch quietly. Don't celebrate their fall. Study it. Let it remind you why you stay grounded, why you stay disciplined. The ones who laughed first are now learning the hardest lesson. Strength without humility is suicide. And while they're learning how to survive the fall, you're already learning how to rise again. They don't get it. They think built different is about genetics, luck, or talent. It's not. It's about endurance. It's about how many times you got hit and still refused to stay down. Being built different isn't a label. It's a process. It's the silent contract you made with pain, that no matter how many times it shows up, you'll still stand tall enough to look it in the eye. Every person wants strength, but few are willing to earn. Strength isn't something you gain, it's something you become. It's the version of you that walks out after every breakdown, sharper, colder, wiser. It's not pretty, it's not cinematic, it's brutal. lonely, and often misunderstood. But those who walk that path, they don't just change, they transform. They evolve into something that pressure can't crush anymore. When others were chasing pleasure, you were chasing progress. When they wanted comfort, you wanted control. That's what separates you. You didn't run from discipline. You built a home inside it. You turned pain into a daily ritual. That's what the blueprint looks like. Silence, sacrifice, repetition, and a refusal to negotiate your standards. Every day you woke up, tired, unmotivated, doubting yourself, and still moved. That's the foundation of Built Different. You didn't need validation because results were your applause. You didn't need company because solitude became your mentor. That's how real warriors are made. Not in noise, but in repetition. Not in praise, but in persistence. You taught yourself how to keep moving when no one was watching. How to rise when no one clapped. That's not arrogance. That's mastery. Being built different doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means pain doesn't define you. It means you've trained your emotions to obey your vision. You've built systems where others built excuses. You've learned to love the grind, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. That's how you became the exception, not because you were chosen, but because you chose not to quit. And now, when they look at you, they don't understand it. They think you're lucky. They think you found a shortcut. They'll never see the thousands of silent wars you fought alone. But that's fine. You don't need them to understand. You just need them to feel it. That presence, that stillness, that unshakable energy. That's what Built Different really means. The calm of someone who's been through